For more discussion on the really big news of the day, 2016 U.S. presidential election and the Democratic National Convention, I'm joined here in the Beijing studio once again by Rick Denham, a co-director of the Global Business Journalism at Tsinghua University. And also, we are having in Philadelphia, where the convention is taking place, Laura Schwartz from the Democratic National Convention Arena. She's a political commentator who worked at the White House during the ex-president Bill Clinton's term. Also in Philadelphia, we are having Mr. Brandon Andrews, a former U.S. Senate staff and also a director of Impact, a nonprofit organization that develops political skills for young leaders. By the way, he is more Republican than the other panelists. Let me start by asking you, Ms. Schwartz, what happened today? I mean, on Monday, there seem to be only two key words. One is anger, the other is division. We're seeing a very not united Democratic Party.
Well, day one definitely had its troubles leading out of the leaked emails by the Russians with the DNC, but I really don't think we're going to see that go on throughout the week. There will be protests throughout Philadelphia, when there were boos last night and there were hisses, but when Michelle Obama got out on that stage and talked about unity, which last night was about, well, those boos subsided, and she said, when the others go low, we go high, and I think that's what you'll see the rest of this week. But no doubt, it's been a tough first day, but Bernie Sanders said he proudly supports Hillary Clinton.
All right. Well, even Howard Dean, the former president of the Democratic National Convention, has said this time you really screw things up. He said this on his social media site. Ms. Schwartz, what about that? How much will that, the latest scandal involving the emails, further divide the party, not to mention what Bernie Sanders and his campaign has already done to the party?
That's a good question. Number one, on the Debbie Wasserman Schultz really dismissal as the DNC chair, it was dealt with swiftly, and I think that's what the Democrats wanted to do to set them apart from the RNC and the Republicans. Secondly, I don't think, there was no voter suppression. Bernie Sanders still got 13 million votes, but Hillary Clinton still received more votes. And on that platform that Brendan mentioned, the $15 minimum wage that Bernie Sanders supporters wanted is in. The free college tuition is in. So this is the most progressive Democratic agenda of any platform seen in history. So much of it has been adopted. But to the good point made in your studio, do these Bernie or bust minority of his supporters really get that? I don't know.
All right, let's take a look at some of the polls. Of course, we cannot trust the poll 100%, but sometimes it does provide certain kinds of information about the latest development. For the first time, with the poll on Tuesday, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump is leading the race. CNN's poll shows Trump ahead of Hillary Clinton in the race for the White House now, after the Republican National Convention, topping her 48% in a two-way head-to-head matchup. Ms. Schwartz, may I come back to you once again? So this is providing so much ammunition for the Trump campaign against Hillary. I understand also on Tuesday night, after Bill Clinton's speech, there's likely to be a roll call on the floor from the National Democratic Convention. Does Ms. Clinton, Secretary Clinton, has any risk of not getting enough votes this time, even within the party?
Oh, absolutely no risk of not getting votes. Hillary will be proudly nominated as the Democratic nominee for president tonight. And, the polls go up and down, and when your polls are up, man, you use them as your big message of the day. When polls go down, you don't mention them as much. But when you average them out, because there are so many going on, Real Clear Politics average has Donald Trump up by 0.9%. So you risk sometimes overplaying your hand when your lead is not solidified and still within the margin of error. You don't see the Hillary team doing that as much because I think they just are more seasoned at it.
Right. I mean, what can be done to mend the fences? This is not just an ideological divide. This is also about cheating. This is also about plots against Mr. Sanders during the primary by the DNC. So how much can be done to really win back the confidence and support?
Well, I think this is more of an ideological divide, and I think the way Hillary Clinton wins back that support is by embracing the Bernie Sanders agenda. The problem is that this week she's having to veer to the left when she had originally planned to veer to the center. Michael Bloomberg, the business leader,
Right.
former New York mayor, is coming to speak. She wanted to appeal to voters in the center, independents, and now she's having to protect her left flank. That's the problem. She is losing some opportunity to appeal to moderate voters, independent voters, and Republican voters because she's having to pivot left this week to make sure that she gets as many of those Bernie Sanders supporters as she can under the circumstances.
Two questions. It's not just about strategies, it's also about the visions. What kind of visions is the Democratic National Convention, in a way, project to people? One is about women or not. That, of course, is an interesting question. Mr. Schwartz, I'm sure you have more to say about that. This is the first time for any major political party inside the United States likely to nominate a woman as the candidate for president, whether she wins or not. That is already making history. Having said that, though, how much of the women card will Secretary Clinton be able to play in order to win support both inside the party and even beyond?
I think it will play well only because she has the policies behind it to back it up. Suburban working women, suburban moms are worried about things like economic security, national security, all within her platform, all within programs very well laid out by her. She's going to have to work for that vote. But tonight, for example, its theme is all about motherhood and families. President Bill Clinton will be speaking about her on a much more personal level. We will hear from the mother of Trayvon Martin, who was shot in Florida,
right,
and the other men ridiculously gunned down. You're going to hear from mothers tonight, so you're going to hear a big women agenda this evening.
On Monday also there was some very impressive speech by the First Lady Michelle Obama. She was also talking about the significance of having a women president, even a nominee from a party for president for her children, her daughters, and also many other children inside the United States. Of course, that has been watched by all over the world at the same time. But Ms. Schwartz, we've seen once and again terrorist attacks inside the European cities. And as we all know, there's a phenomenon called the October surprise. So will that lend more ammunition to the Trump campaign vis-a-vis Secretary Clinton, because they do have very different views when it comes to immigrants? Finally, briefly from you.
They have different views, and they have extremely, well, I don't know what Trump's policy rollout would look like because we haven't seen it fully in action. I really don't want to comment on that question because I don't want an October surprise. Today's events in Normandy were tragic, and I think we just need to look towards optimism and getting through this campaign, unifying both parties, because what you see behind me is the best exercise of American democracy, whether it's the Republican National Convention, the Democratic National Convention, the Green Party Convention. This is what it's about, democracy.
We hope that democracy will really bring some wonderful results that would likely to solve many of the problems we are facing today. Thank you so much for the three of you, Rick Dunham, Laura Schwartz, and Brandon Andrews. Really appreciate it. Thank you for being with us.